You decided you're going to do it. You're going to become a minimalist. You go through the whole process to immediately just regret it, and all the work that you did just feels like a waste. Before you become a minimalist, you should consider these things. What's up, Minimal Fam? You'll always hear us say that we believe anyone can live minimal and have an amazing and unforgettable life. But before you jump in and say, hey, yeah, this is what I want, there are some reasons why you should not become a minimalist. You saw someone's cool hipster minimalist video and you're like, ooh, yeah, I like the aesthetic and the way it looks. There's no shortage of minimalist home videos on YouTube, and of course they are there to inspire. But you always have to wonder, does their home always look like that? Also, beyond the aesthetic, you really gotta ask yourself, would I be comfortable in a home like that? Because truthfully, this is a place that I'm gonna lay my head at night and wake up in the morning. However, the biggest reason why only doing this because you just saw someone's video is a mistake is because minimalism is not an end result snapshot. It is a mindset. It's a way of life that literally follows you whether you have a studio apartment, a single family home, a huge house, or you're just living with your parents. Oddly enough, I had never seen a minimalist home before we became minimalists. I had no inspiration at all for the lifestyle.
After I decided to get into minimalism, I watched the Minimalist documentary on Netflix, and that really sparked a huge change in me. And then on top of that, I read a book called The Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo before the series came out on Netflix. And that's kind of where I discovered what I wanted to do with our home.
Don't become a minimalist just because your spouse is doing it. We've shared how in the beginning this was all Carlene's idea. She was inspired and began decluttering our home, starting with Mila's bedroom, which then led to our kitchen, our closets, our dining room, our bathrooms, and our bedroom, and literally anywhere that she could find.
It all started with getting rid of our TV. When I decided to take that step and to really prioritize my time, I went on the internet and looked up what families do to fill their time when they have no TV. So basically I was looking for ideas and activities, and instead I found the Minimalist community, which led me to the Minimalist documentary on Netflix. After I watched that, I found out about Marie Kondo and Courtney Carver, and then Joshua Becker. So it kind of just spiraled from there. And then ultimately I made the decision to declutter our whole home. And so I just started in the kitchen and in our bedroom, and then slowly made our way through the whole entire house. And I started by myself. I just kind of focused on what I could control, and I didn't force my husband to do anything. He kind of just saw me go through it. And eventually he just kind of got on board. He never tried to stop me from doing all the things that I wanted to do, but he was never really like, I want to do it with you, until he started to see the benefit of having less and just feeling like the space was a lot more peaceful.
In all honesty, since I didn't have a lot of stuff, I let her do and get rid of whatever she wanted. The only thing I felt iffy about were some of my clothes and my trophies. Oddly enough, she never asked for my help. I never understood why, but I did feel much more passively supportive because I didn't feel like I was being forced to do it. She was doing her thing, and I reaped the rewards of how the house started to open up and feel less stressful. And when she hit our closet, I helped a little and kept a few things even though I knew she wanted them out. But then my curiosity to take this further and make our home even more clutter-free led me to this book on our dining room counter, The Minimal Home. When I started reading that, I jumped on my own with no push from Carlene at that point, and we officially became a minimalist family.
I see this a lot in relationships or marriages where one person wants to be a minimalist while the other person does not. The best advice I could give you is just to focus on your own things. Don't worry about anyone else's but your own. Don't become a minimalist if your primary goal is organizing. Decluttering and organizing are honestly very different. Some people will use them interchangeably, but essentially, they're not the same thing.
I do not like organizing. I don't find joy in doing it or like to pass time doing it. So I quickly started to hate when weekends would roll around and we had to organize something. Decluttering is a process of going through things that you may end up letting go of, not simply shifting them into different pockets of your house. In the beginning, you might be tempted to just go through those things and keep them. And that's kind of the way that it goes. The first time you kind of go through it, you're like, maybe I'll keep this, or maybe I'll use it again. And then the second time you go through and declutter, you're like, I actually don't even use this, so I'm probably gonna get rid of it. And look, no one's perfect because, we all start somewhere. We just believe that organizing alone will not lead you to a minimalist lifestyle.
Don't become a minimalist if you're not willing to change your spending habits. There's a reason why we end up with cluttered homes, filled with junk we don't need, and frustrated. Yes, sometimes we're gifted some of those things, but it's fair to say the majority of it is from our own mindless spending. Some of us have a stuff addiction. We all like the way it makes us feel to buy stuff. We like the way it feels to have stuff, but it's something that all of us have to confront head on and make decisions on how we want to live moving forward. If we were only focused on decluttering, but never wanted to look at our spending, then we would be in an endless cycle of frustration from all the work of decluttering just getting overshadowed by the stuff that creeps back in.
Don't become a minimalist if your friend's doing it or you just see it as a trend. Because your friend may have a different life. They may be single, they may have kids, they may be married. Like, what about you? What does your life look like? Are you married? Do you have kids? Because minimalism looks different for everybody. And if you just look at what's happening on social media or what your friend's life looks like, you won't be able to determine if, hey, this is actually what I want. We all live different lives, we all have different needs, we all have different desires. And what's a common thread for most minimalists is the why, or the mindset. So what's your why? Like, why do you want to become a minimalist? What's the reason why you want your home to feel different? Because that is the true reason why you should become a minimalist. If you find that one thing, like, hey, I want my home to feel peaceful. I want my home to feel welcoming for my family. I want my home to feel like it has a lot of space and I don't have to worry about things. The why is so much more important than what other people are doing or what other trends are happening, because who knows, tomorrow it could be something completely different. Okay, so you decided maybe I want to be a minimalist, but I just want to see what you guys got rid of or don't buy anymore to help with that mindless spending piece you talked about. Well, as you're watching this video, we are sure you'll come up with plenty of ideas. As always, stay minimal, friends, and we will see you in the next video.